What's up, everybody? It's Chad from Ask Chad Grassy Logic. I'm here today with another episode, but today I'm here with my friend Heather. If you guys are in town or you like getting food delivery, you probably know Orange Crate. Well, she has something new today and she was going to share it, but I'll let her introduce herself and everything. So thanks for joining me, Heather.
Of course, thanks for having me. As you said, my name is Heather and I'm the owner of Orange Crate and soon to be a second company that we will talk about today called Green Crate.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the name, kind of keeping the same premise.
Yes.
So as she said, yeah, it's going to be Green Crate. I've actually known Heather for about 5 years now. We actually worked for a company called Waiter. It was another delivery service. We were both tech drivers after a while, and the company unfortunately shut down pretty much randomly one day. So after that, I think that's when your Orange Crate kind of thing came around. So do you mind sharing the whole story?
Sure. So yeah, as you said, I worked for Waiter for a while. When we found out that was closing down, Waiter actually had a larger delivery zone than anyone else. They were delivered to places no one else would, and so I saw that need was there to be filled. I told my husband one day, like, I think I can do this better than the big guys. I think I know what I'm doing. He said, go for it. That was about 6 weeks before we opened our doors. I had everything up and running within 6 weeks. And then of course we all know what happened right around March of 2020. That was less than 60 days after I opened my doors when COVID hit and everything shut down and all of these small local restaurants really needed me. And that's been my main focus for a long time, is just keeping these local restaurants, keeping them in business without overcharging them, and keeping customers happy.
Nice. And with that whole model, I guess you're moving it to cannabis now, right?
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to make sure that customers can have their cannabis delivered to them the same way that they get their food delivered to them, that same convenience.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and that's something that I feel is needed. It's something that we added into the law, here, that we knew was something that's needed. If we have food delivery, why not have cannabis delivery?
Right.
And at the time when the law was being written, it was after COVID had already been going for about a year.
Right.
And so it made even more sense for them to add that in there. So it's great to see that someone is actually in the area going about it and doing it now. So
right.
I hope to see Green Crate throughout the state. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the big goal. And, there's a lot. We've got some competitors out there already that have talked about coming in, into Las Cruces. But the one thing I love about Las Cruces is we're all very attached to our community. We're all very attached to each other, and not necessarily big fans of other people coming in with their businesses and trying to push their way in. And Las Cruces, it's my town. It's my community. These people know me.
Yeah.
And my face is out there. They already know me from Orange Crate. And being able to use a company that you already know and trust, a face that you already know and trust, with something as important as your medicine, super, super important.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when it comes to cannabis and everything, because, and I was going to ask you this question, but I'm sure there's people who can't really leave their house who rely on services like yours.
Right. Well, and that's how Green Crate came to be for me. I'm a chronic pain patient. And I myself during COVID had my own major flare up. I literally couldn't get out of bed. My husband is active duty military. My daughter was only 17 at the time. I had no way to get my medicine. I was out of it and there was nothing there for me. And I just had the idea. I was like, this needs to happen. I know I'm not the only chronic pain patient here. It makes me a little emotional, to be honest. I know I'm not the only chronic pain patient that needs this brought to them and would like to not have to get out of bed when you're in so much pain that nobody else would be able to walk, but here you are running around doing your daily errands, getting your medicine. Like, people like me need that, and I know I'm not the only one out there. And while we will be delivering to recreational users as well, the main focus for me was making sure that patients like me were able to get their medicine.
Awesome. No, that's great to hear, because that's something that we wanted to add in to ensure that people that couldn't leave their house could still get their cannabis and their medicine.
Yeah.
Even the recreational users, of course, they benefit. If you're a little too stoned on the couch and damn well you shouldn't be driving,
yes.
and
eliminate those DUIs and DWIs.
Exactly. And that's something that I kind of feel will benefit the state in that direction.
Yeah.
Because there's times where someone's smoking and maybe they run out and they're like, oh, now I got to go to the store. I don't want to do that. And so now you have that option, and it's a better option. We've been talking on and off about the model and everything through the years. And can you give an idea of maybe like what prices are like, with Orange Crate, just on the food side, so they can kind of get an idea?
So on the food side, it's going to differ a little bit. Restaurants tend to have less of an overhead than the shops do, and I've talked to a lot of dispensaries as I was getting in, trying to figure out how I was going to do this, but what the overhead looks like after taxes and all of that stuff. And a lot of people misunderstand that they think dispensaries are making a ton of money off of these, but once they pay their taxes and the insurance you have to have, plus the security, like everything, that huge overhead it looks like they have gets very, very tiny, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pattern it very similar to the way that I do my restaurants. Whatever you can afford to pay me, I'm going to have an amount that I want to get, and whether I need to get that from the customer or I need to get it from the dispensary, however that happens, that's kind of what we do with Orange Crate. I have a set commission percentage that I need to make. If the restaurant wants to pay all of it, make it cheaper for their customers, great. If they can't afford to pay any of it, I'll pass that on to the customer.
Yeah.
I understand that sometimes that makes us a little bit more the expensive, high class, if you will, delivery service. I believe you get what you pay for. And I plan to do the same thing with the Green Crate side of things. If you're a smaller dispensary and can't afford to really pay me anything, that's okay. We'll figure it out together.
Yeah. And, it's supporting mom and pops, and stuff
Exactly.
like that too.
Supporting these local places. I don't have a whole lot of plans to partner with any of the larger names in town. I really want to stay focused on these small local dispensaries, just like I've done with Orange Crate.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that too, because, there's so much, so many big MSOs or multi-state operators, for those who don't know, coming into the state and operating. It's great that, someone is focusing on local. And we also have this issue of, legacy market cannabis or black market cannabis and legal retail stores that it kind of hurts mom and pops, because you're not supporting local, you're not supporting the local growers.
Right.
And so you're supporting out-of-state entities that are sending cannabis here. So it's great that you have other companies that are just like, no, we really want to focus on the smaller guys, the one who want to get their name out there, or maybe even someone's partnering with someone and they have their product in the store and they don't know how to get their name out there. It's like, well, now we're on Green Crate and you can get us straight to your door, if you order from this place specifically.
Right.
And so that opens it up more, and that's great to hear. What are some other plans you got, in store? It's such a great thing that you have going on.
So, you and I talked a little bit. There's still a lot that's under wraps because it's going to be
super secret squirrel.
Yes, very much. There's some things that we've been given permission to do that nobody else in the country has actually been allowed to do yet. So we're keeping that kind of secret. But the main goal is going to look very, very similar to a food delivery app or a food delivery website, where you're going to be able to search for either your favorite dispensary, your favorite edible, your favorite brand, your favorite strain. You'll be able to search for that and order it directly from the website. The details of how that's all happening and all of that stuff, that's what I'm keeping secret. But just imagine you're on the orangecrate.com website, but instead of...
Well, speaking of, let's pull that website up. You don't mind? Gino, can you get that up?
Yep.
All right. So we're going to get the website up so that we can give us a hands-on feel of really what the user is going to be. The user experience is really going to be on this website. So
so it's going to be very similar to this. You'll put in your delivery address, very similar to where it has it on here. And then I don't know if he has an address that you can put in there, but put in a address on there and let's...
Oh, the studio. Just so you guys know, this is the address to the studio. Don't think it's like my or Gino's house.
So as you can see here, it pulls up all of the restaurants that we're partnered with. Those featured restaurants tend to be the less expensive ones, but it's going to look very similar to this. And instead of restaurants, you're going to be able to see dispensaries listed there. There are going to be search buttons on there. It's going to look very, very similar. As you can see, there's another 87 restaurants. We've got a lot. But you can basically get anything you want food-wise delivered from us as it is, but this will all be dispensaries. The three little lines that are on the top right next to the shopping bag, that will pull up a search option as well, where you'll be able to search by strain, search by an edible, a brand, whatever you want to do. So it'll look similar to this.
So you have the filter option essentially.
Yes, there'll be a filter option. Think weed maps, but then you don't have to go to the dispensaries page afterwards.
Yeah. It seems a little bit easier too, and it's more local driven, because I've been talking to some of the dispensaries and like, oh, we stopped using weed maps, because of this reason, and we're on this other app, that no one knows about.
It's expensive to be on weed maps.
I've heard.
I've looked into it. It's expensive to be on weed maps.
It's bougie, I guess.
Yeah. See up there where it says restaurant search on there. Instead of restaurant search, it's gonna say just search, and you'll be able to search by dispensary or anything you want.
Nice. Is there any plans for maybe prices, like price point, like what you're looking for? Maybe?
Yes. So there we'll be able to pull up price points. You'll be able to sort by which dispensary has it the least expensive, which one has the less fees, or that sort of thing. Yeah.
Nice.
And see this side where the filters are, you can filter it. That'll all be geared towards the cannabis side of things instead.
Nice. And so, I mean, just off topic a little bit, I mean, for the people that are watching that maybe want to work with you, or, Orange Crate or Green Crate, how do you pay your employees? I mean, how did they actually get paid? Or, is it, because remember at Waiter, we got paid a certain amount and then plus tips,
Right.
Is it the same kind of concept?
So yeah, it's very similar to that concept. We pay very similar to the pay structure itself is very similar to other third-party delivery apps. We're talking Orange Crate because the pay for Green Crate is going to be a little different. But
Okay.
for Orange Crate, it's paid very similar, where you're considered a 1099 contractor. You get paid 85% of our delivery fee, which starts at $5, and then you get your gratuity on top of that. Now, the reason I call it gratuity is it's very important. A lot of people don't know this. In the state of New Mexico, the law differentiates between gratuity and tip. A tip must be voluntary. Gratuity can be mandatory.
Got it.
So I make sure that my drivers are paid for the work they are doing. So we call it gratuity because it is mandatory that you pay my drivers for the work they've done for you. You can pay them in cash. You can pay them on a credit card when you place the order. It doesn't matter, as long as they're being paid for the work they do. In addition to that, because we are so local, if a menu needs to be updated, things like that, I don't have time to drive around to, the 100+ restaurants you saw there. I pay my team to do it for me.
Okay.
And those drivers that get on with Orange Crate are actually going to be the ones that I trust to bring on to Green Crate to work.
Okay.
Obviously, you've got to be 21, and there's a lot of training that goes into it. The drivers that we have set up currently to deliver cannabis are all completely HIPAA certified, 5-star certified. We've done extensive training with all of them.
That's good to hear.
They're badged, they're background checked. And fun fact for anybody that doesn't know this, if you use another delivery service for cannabis, the state does not require that anybody be background checked except the owner of the service.
Oh.
So I've taken it upon myself. I already background check all of my delivery drivers for Orange Crate. So all of my Green Crate drivers are also completely background checked. You know who's coming to your door every time.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear, because, it's not going to be a situation where you get the cannabis thrown there and the doobie's half smoked or something.
Right.
Or, like something's open or missing,
Yes.
So that's good to hear, because, some of these delivery apps, the people that work for them aren't the nicest or,
Right.
straight shooting people in the world, but, you get that anywhere. But, you're actually taking the extra precautions that you don't even have to take.
Right.
You're not even required to do this. You're doing it because you want to ensure that the customer is going to have a great experience.
Yes.
And a great product in the end. That's great to hear, because customer experience is something that this industry is lacking.
Yes.
And just having good customer skills in the first place is something that we're lacking too. But the customer experience is something that lacks heavily, and you've taken that and you're saying, no, we're actually going to do this and do it right.
Well, and that's why I'm utilizing my Orange Crate drivers first.
Yeah.
And for anybody now, because we're not launched with Green Crate yet, we're still 90 to 120 days out at this point from launch. But for anybody that wants to come on to Green Crate, there will be a requirement that you at least drive for Orange Crate for a little while, because I need to make sure I can trust you with someone's food before I can trust you with something like cannabis. It's a lot more laws, a lot more restrictions on it. And if I can't even trust you to get someone's food order right, I'm not going to be able to trust you to get their cannabis order right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that the main pool of drivers is going to be pulled from my Orange Crate drivers.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that you've, done the work and actually trained these people, extensively. Maybe that came from, being a military wife for so long. I have no clue, but, it was a great idea to do that, and when we did work for Waiter, they did train us, fairly good, there's good training. So, I mean, I can kind of see that coming in there, but, a lot of people just skip training altogether because they think it's not important. But people need to know how your company works and how they're expected to, act on the plot, essentially.
Or they just hand you a bag and say, "Have a nice day."
Yeah. Good luck out there.
Right. With an app you've never worked on.
Yeah. And so, now you're sitting here trying to figure it out. So it's great that, you're doing that, because, now they know how to navigate it. There's no excuses of, why this went wrong, or et cetera, et cetera. So that's great. You're covering all bases. That's great. And so you said about 90 days that you're going to be
90 to 120 days out at this point before official launch. Yeah.
Nice. Well, congratulations. And, I guess for the people out there, how can they find you? Like websites or contacts?
So for right now, the only website I have available to the public is the Orange Crate website. But I do have a texting, a phone number that dispensaries and customers can text.
Okay.
And if they send the code word, so if you're a dispensary that's interested in this, you would just text Green Dispensary And I'll give you the number in just a sec, but you text Green Dispensary, that'll put you on a mailing list. It's basically an email list that will keep you updated on what's going on, where we're at in the process, when we're going to get launched, when we have an official date. And it will also come with some discounts as a dispensary on commissions and fees. And then customers can also text Green Customer to the same number. And when they text, they will also be put on a mailing list, kept updated on what we're doing and when we're going to launch. And they will be put in an exclusive rewards club for things like free delivery and free pre-rolls, things like that,
Cool.
we'll be able to offer them. And I got to remember the numbers. Give me 2 seconds here. So yeah, you can text Green Dispensary to 575-386-8790, or you can text Green Customer to 575-386-8790, and we'll get you on that list and get you informed.
Cool. And I'll get that information down in the description for you guys. So that way it's just a click away. You don't have to like rewind or wait. But thank you for, giving that. Maybe someone's quick with the draw and get it down during watching. So yeah, I appreciate that. And, thank you for joining me again. And, good luck on this Green Crate thing. It's a really great model that you have going. You already have the delivery to back you up on, how good of a company it already is. And I can't wait to see what, comes from this, because there's a lot of people who actually rely on it. So yeah, thanks for bringing this to somewhere that really needs it.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to work with you guys more and see you out there.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure I'll see you around. And I'm glad that you decided to stick around for the rest of the show too. And before we move on, I wanted to ask you this earlier, but it didn't really tie into anything that we're talking about. How many military spouses do you feel, or do you know, or off the top of your head, that use cannabis or rely on it?
To be honest, I couldn't give you an exact number. I don't know. It is still very secretive. Even though it's legal in the state, it's still federally illegal. So it's still kept very hush hush. There are like select Facebook groups for us and things like that. But what I would say is probably well more than you would think. Obviously they can't have it on base, but there are, just in my experience, even before it was legal recreationally and with spouses getting their medical card, there were a lot of us that shared which doctors we could go to get our medical cards, and without the military researching it through TRICARE and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a very large amount. Just think, let me put it this way. Any of the moms that you see, not any, a lot of the moms that you see posting, I need a glass of wine after a long day, they probably also need a bong after a long day.
That life ain't easy. that military wife life ain't easy. So
I've been doing it. Oh my gosh, October will be 20 years.
Oh my God, yeah, you need a doobie.
Plus, I just got done raising a teenage daughter that's moving out. Yeah, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, you need a nap and a doobie. Oh, definitely.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that for me. If you're anybody that needs resources or questions on it, message me. I'll reach out to Heather, and then I'll try to get you guys in contact. I know it's really hard, trying to navigate something that's federally illegal when you're a military spouse, and all that, and you're really scared, and I get it. So if you have any questions, reach out to me, I'll try to help you with whatever resources I have, in that area. So, I hope you don't mind.
No, I've got little secrets of like how to keep it from your husband, and like not that sounded bad. How to keep it to where your husband doesn't have access to it. So if something does come up, you're safe and he's safe and he doesn't lose his career over it. There are certain things you have to do, and I know all of that information. So I'm happy to share it with anybody that needs it.
Nice. Yeah. So like I said, just reach out to me and I'll get you in contact with Heather and she can help you out with that. So I just wanted to ask that because, I know your experience from being a military wife is very extensive. And so I wanted to, ask that because, I'm not a military wife. I was just in the Army.
Right.
So I didn't really have to deal with that side of it. And I always wondered because I saw a lot of spouses who smoke weed. And I was like, how many are there?
No, there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us.
I was like, dang.
It's a stressful life. There's a lot of us.
Oh, you're telling me, just even finding out that you're deploying, you're like, oh, this sucks. And then, everyone else around you is affected too. So, yeah. But anyway, we're going to move on with the conversation. I just wanted to add that piece in there, because there could be a military spouse watching the show and, I'm not aware of it and you need some help. So, yeah, reach out to me and we'll just get on to the next topic, which is actually going to be about BioTrack. Have you used BioTrack yet?
I've had to. Yeah. That's how we have to track for our customers when we do Green Crate.
Oh, really?
We've had to get a login and everything. Yeah.
So are you going to provide training for that too? Because you're already doing a good job on the other side.
That actually all has to be done through me. So the dispensary has to track it, that they've given it to me or to my driver. And then my driver has to give it to the customer. And so in addition to the dispensary tracking it, I then have to go into BioTrack and track which driver took it and who they delivered it to. And right now it's all very manual and very time consuming.
Well, that is unfortunate to hear because I kind of feel like being in 2023, things should be a little more streamlined.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be so archaic because, the user interface of that programs kind of suck.
Yeah.
It's gotten better. But the user interface of it, the UI is just atrocious. You know, you have to click 7 times to get to one thing, and you know, it's all over the place. And I was just wondering, I didn't even think of that. I was like, oh yeah, I wonder if she's used BioTrack yet.
Yep,
You know,
I have to.
it's been nicknamed BioTrash and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But the company actually decided to come out with some training videos, and
I did get an email on that actually. I
Yeah.
saw that. Yeah.
And so they came out with some training videos, and the CCD is promoting it and everything, and you know, the ones kind of distributing information. So if you guys are having issues with your employees learning, yourself learning, they actually have training videos now. So now you can either set up a meeting and have all your employees watch it, and they can ask questions as you go, or you can have them watch it on the free time, you yourself on your free time. I feel like this is going to save people a lot of time and money for training.
Yeah.
Because if you have the company making the videos, they tend to do a little bit better job than it would be me trying to screen record and trying to click. Is this something that you would want to use?
Well, yeah, because as a company, one of the things a lot of people don't realize with BioTrack is you can only update and change things a certain amount of times before they lock your account on BioTrack.
Yeah.
And that's why they started doing these videos, because there were so many people like, no, you can't lock it. I just didn't know what I was doing. Like, please unlock it. And it became an issue. So having these videos is going to eliminate a lot of the issues of dispensaries and delivery services getting their accounts locked because they just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. And, you know, it's just like we were talking before, you know, they hand you the bag and say good luck.
Right. And that's what BioTrack essentially did. So yeah, I think the videos are going to be great. I do that with my drivers. There's a video training on what to do in addition to their hands-on training. So this is, I think this is a good way to go. I don't think it's perfect.
Nothing.
I think it's a good step forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's still ways to go, but I think it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, if we had a friendly user interface, we wouldn't need this, right?
Right, exactly. Make that a little better, would be okay. But no, I think this is definitely, I think it's going to help everybody.
I do too. And if you're, you know, a cannabis, you know, business owner, and you're curious about this, you know, check your emails. The CCDs probably most likely emailed you. They even emailed me about it. That's how I found out about it initially. And now it's being kind of dispersed a little bit more. And it's probably even on the CCD website.
Yeah.
You can probably find it there. So help is here. I understand that, you know, BioTrack isn't perfect. We've been using BioTrack in New Mexico for a very long time now. We used it when we were medical still. And even then, you know, there was woes and people hated it, and we were looking for alternatives. Would you feel that maybe if the state did their own, it would be better?
Gosh, that's a tough question to answer because I don't want to misspeak on the people that hold my license. They are very basic, even in their CCDs right now. There's a lot of things that they have overlooked that other states have in their CCDs and things like that. And I fear that the same would be true of them creating their own tracking system, that the certain things would be overlooked. And, you know, as an entrepreneur who has started companies, you don't know what you don't know. So you have to be able to start with, okay, this system is already set up for me to do what needs to be done. And I think that's what BioTrack is for them. I don't think it would be any better if they did it themselves, because that's not what they're there for.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No.
That's not what they're good at.
Yeah. And I agree. You know, like I know this past legislative session, the state was really looking towards coming up with their own. You know, there was a bill and everything in it, and, you know, it didn't pass, you know, luckily, because I agree. You know, you already have these third-party companies that are working on it themselves, and they've been working on it for years. We essentially would be starting all over.
Right.
You know, from the ground up, you know, version 0.01 essentially. And
well, we're still a baby cannabis state. We're one of the newer ones. Like, take advice. You know, again, the people who know more than you do, what system does the highest selling state, what do they use? Like, go with that, because that you already know that someone else knows and trusts that system, just like a referral. Go with what you know and trust.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, it might be time for us to maybe start shopping around for another tracking system. You know,
there are a couple others out there.
Yeah. And, you know, it's not just Metric and, you know, BioTrack anymore. There's a couple more that's come up in the past few years. And I think
maybe that'll be my next company.
Maybe it's a good idea.
My husband said one company a year. So now.
Just to keep you restricted.
I keep getting these ideas.
Just to keep you restricted. You're going to be too freaking successful.
He's just going to be too stressed.
So, but yeah, guys, if you need help with it, there is help. You know, now there's at least videos instead of, because I've looked at the BioTrack website and the user manual. It's just as bad as the user interface for the website. There's just all kinds of crap on the left side, and you're just like, well, what if I have something? Is there a search bar? Like, you know, it's really confusing. So the fact that they have videos to help you out, it helps a lot. But is it gonna fix all of the issues? Hell no. There's so many issues with this that it's gonna take a lot more than just some training videos to really get it to where it needs to be or where it should be at this point, because it's been over 15 years probably that they've been a business and doing this. So it should work a little bit better. However, there's the way things are and the way things should be. And at the end of the day, we're stuck with BioTrack, and let's just be glad that we have the training videos.
Yes,
so
for sure.
But yeah, that's really all I had about the CCD thing. I just wanted to put that out there so the people who have cannabis establishments, if you aren't aware of this now, hopefully you are, and you can train your employees or yourself if you're lost or you need just some help. So moving on to the next thing. Do you have anything else on that one?
I was just going to say, this is more of like a keyboard hack, I guess. If you are on those manuals and you can't, you don't want to scroll. I just realized a lot of people don't realize if you hit Control F on your keyboard, it pops up a search bar.
Oh, okay. So it's in text. Cool.
Yeah, just a little tech thing. Just Control F on any keyboard,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to find it yourself and search for it without a search bar in there. So just a little hint there.
I was afraid it was like a PDF thing and you can't Control F on it because it's not a. Anyway, but yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that
just
you can
Control F. It'll pop up a little search bar. You can find anything you want.
Control F is your friend. Use it as much as you can.
I use it all the time.
So that's a really good tip. Maybe someone will use it. But moving on, we're going to be talking about real quick Texas. And I understand, New Mexico. Why do we want to talk about Texas? Well, their medical expansion failed in the Senate. And so it's not really surprising to me. I don't know about yourself.
No, not really surprising. Disappointing.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
Yeah, it is disappointing because, we say so many things and all these damn Texans and stuff, but at the end of the day, they deserve a good cannabis program just like anybody else, just like us. They shouldn't have to suffer just because we have a little rivalry going on with them. There's really no point. Colorado didn't wish the same on us. You know what I mean? When we didn't have legal. So it failed. It failed in the Senate, and they have a very low THC program to start with. It's pretty much a CBD program. And I guess the bill would have increased the THC to a certain amount, and it failed in the Senate, and a lot of people are disappointed, and it sucks. But at the same time, I kind of figured it didn't have much of a chance just because of the fact that it's Texas.
Right.
They're probably about 4 or 5 years out before either legalizing or fixing this, because every year almost it's just the same thing.
Right. Keeps getting put up. It's kind of similar. My family's all from Louisiana, and it's very similar. There's a lot of cannabis users there, and they've brought it up to the Senate several times, and it just keeps failing. They don't even have medical there. There's nothing there, and it just keeps failing. And it's disappointing. Like I said, my family's there. There's cannabis users there.
Yeah.
It just keeps failing.
There's cannabis users everywhere, and that's one thing that people fail to understand. It's not just a California thing or a Colorado thing. There was cannabis users there before it was legal.
Right.
And there's cannabis users everywhere right now, even where it's not legal. So even a state like Indiana.
Right. Yeah. Just random place. Rhode Island. There's probably somebody out there.
Yeah. There's people smoking weed heavily over there. So this is something I just wanted to, bring up to you guys, let you know that, this did fail. They had several different things going on. But at this time, it's just not going to happen in Texas. However, I will say that it's unfortunate for the Texans to go through this. However, it's good for us in New Mexico for the long run, because our sales still stay up. Because if they did go legal, if they went full legal, we would probably suffer like Colorado is right now.
Right.
Colorado, their market is suffering because not only did we go legal, Arizona went legal, Montana went legal, and when we went legal, Texas residents went with us.
Right.
So they come here instead of going to Colorado now. And I'm sure you have a few Texans that will go to Colorado, but for the most part, they just stop at Sumner Park.
Right.
And then head on back, or Hobbs or Carlsbad, one of those other places. So it's unfortunate, but at the same time, we still benefit.
Right.
Because I'm sure you'll have Texans that will want delivery to a hotel. I'm sure you guys deliver to hotels quite a bit too, right?
Cannot legally deliver marijuana to anything but a residence.
Oh, I forgot that part. It's too bad.
Can't even be HUD housing. It has to be a privately owned residence.
That's so crazy. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, that's something that they've done, and I didn't figure that they would have done because I thought it was the other way.
I'm fighting that bill, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm fighting that change.
Yeah, that's something that there's several things that need to change in that bill. Like like having micro businesses with only 200 plants. That's a little ridiculous. You can't really stay competitive.
When there's
with that.
A lot of stuff that they have in there that when you ask about it, they go, "Well, we didn't say you couldn't," and you're like, "That's not an answer."
Yeah. It's like, it's not really want to hear. I don't want to work in the gray.
Right.
I don't want to leave a chance. But
no, I'm glad that our, especially for us, our local dispensaries are going to get more, keep their income from the Texas residents. But I can't help but think of like Dallas or, the ones that are closer to Louisiana where it's not legal, and they're going to be probably even further out than Texas is. Like they're driving hundreds of thousands of miles for medicine.
Yeah.
And like, that just, like, I want it legal, but at the same, like, I'm glad it's helping ours that it's not, but also for that side, I can see it for that end of it as well. It's not fair to those people.
Oh yeah, me too. It's the same way. Cause like, it's not fair and it sucks, but at the same time, we benefit, but those people that are so far, like in Austin, even the very far east side of Texas,
Right.
like, near Arkansas and everything, and like Louisiana and all that. And even Oklahoma, the people, near Oklahoma, they still have to drive several hours to get to Oklahoma, even though it looks like it's far.
Right.
Like Oklahoma is a medical only state, for some of you don't know. And so, yeah, even then, and that sucks. So yeah, they're kind of left on their own and to do illegal things.
Right.
Like even going to Texas, they're so used to it. And I'm so used to being in a legal state. I'm like, this is so weird. I don't like this.
Yeah,
like,
you feel uncomfortable going, just like, we have to go with my husband's military doctor. It's like, we have to go to the base out there, and like just driving to go to the doctor. And I'm like, oh man, did I take that out of the car? Am I going to get pulled over? Is that going to be in the car? Like, you just get panicky almost about it. And it's very frustrating, especially living this close to the Texas border, when going there for like Western Playland and like all those things are fun stuff over there. And you have to immediately be paranoid of like, oh crap, did I take that out of my car? Maybe I'm the only one that gets paranoid.
No, I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, is that there? I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get pulled over.
Right.
They're gonna see my New Mexico plates,
yeah,
like,
and assume
like,
oh, they're going 5 miles over, must pull them over. Now we're gonna check your car, and you're like, crap.
Yeah, oh, here we go. Ruining my day. So yeah, and that's one thing that if they did legalize it, we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right.
Like it'd be something that we worry about less. But like I said, it is what it is. But Texas, good luck next year. Maybe you guys can get that medical cannabis program up and going better, because like it's pretty much a CBD program, but through weight, I guess they've found a workaround. It's like 1%, but if 100 milligrams is a certain way, then they can have more THC in the whole bottle. So that's kind of helped them, but at the same time, it shouldn't be that way, because it's like it's like having a regular program with extra steps,
right?
And it shouldn't be that way.
Is kratom legal in Texas?
Is what?
Kratom?
I don't know. I've never thought of that. I know it's legal here, but I don't know if it is in Texas. Yeah.
Irrelevant. Just thought.
If you guys know, just put it in the comments. Is it legal there or not? So that's all we're talking about. Texas. Oh, I have two of the same things printed right here on accident. I don't know why I did that. What's up? Okay, yeah, he's gonna pull it up for me real quick. I have the last thing. Let me see. Actually, I could probably pull it up right here, because I had to replace one of the pages. You're probably gonna have to edit, dude. I'm not. Oh, you're gonna have to. Nah. Because we're sitting here.
I could do a tap dance.
I know, do a little tappy tap. Here we go.
I used to be a cheerleader. I do some cartwheels.
Yeah, so this one's important. I don't know why I forgot about it. Just probably because I was like, oh no, I freaked out. So the Las Cruces City Council is going to have a vote on the distance between cannabis establishments. This is really, really important, because if you are trying to open up a new retail establishment, or you're trying to get somewhere in the city or move, this will make it a lot easier for you. What happened is when they started setting up regulations and stuff in the city, they decided to add a buffer for the cannabis dispensaries being distanced to each other. However, they implemented a special use permit. So in the end, it kind of didn't really matter. And they said that themselves, like, yeah, come to find out, we did that special use permit, and it's just not really working, because you still can get closer with a special use permit. And so now this vote, well, there's two votes that are going to be taking place. I have to put two up, but two votes that are taking place. One is to get rid of the ordinance, and the other is to get rid of the special use permit. We need to get rid of both, and so we need a lot of support from the community, and that's why I'm talking about this, because this is actually your guys' opportunity to do something in the industry, because I can't make it that day, unfortunately. So normally I try to show up to these, speak, and give my 2 cents of what I know from the industry. But unfortunately, I can't make it that day. So it's going to be up to you guys to actually do it. The industry people who care. Are you going to be able to make it at all?
I don't even know what day it is.
It's on the 5th, Monday.
No, I've got a daughter moving to Albuquerque.
Oh, yeah. She's got some family stuff going on, so she's not going to be able to do it. But if you guys are available, you're in town, this is going to be very important, to have city council get rid of these two things, because we have bars that are in the same plaza there's like 5 bars in one plaza, then you have like bars right next to door to each other. So it doesn't really make sense.
Mexican restaurants right next to each other. Like, why is this any different? If you want to compete with your neighbor, compete with your neighbor.
Yeah, I mean, we have Circle K's literally across the street from each other, like a little Circle K and a Circle K feet from each other. And so
we're Dollar Generals.
Yeah, all over the place. So, you know, it was a little unfair to do this to cannabis. I mean, how do you feel about it?
No, I agree. I think I'm very much a keep the government out of my business person. So for them to say, like, you can't set up here, you can't set up, like, why? What is your reasoning for it? Like, the guy next door doesn't like it. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, if the cannabis dispensary next door is fine with competing with me because we have different products or different strains or whatever, then why does the government care?
Yeah,
why is it any of their business?
Yeah,
so
like, why would they?
That's kind of my opinion on it. But
I'm the same way. You know, like, why would they care how many? And the numbers that are put in place are always arbitrary.
Yeah.
You know, it's always just a random number.
Yep.
It's not like,
it's what, 300 feet?
Yeah, 300
Why
feet.
not 250? That's a more whole number. That 255. You know, that's one that people count by, like, arbitrary numbers.
Yeah, and that's how it always is. So I'm glad that the city is stepping in and saying, okay, we tried this out, didn't work.
Right.
You know, let's try to get rid of it now. However, we need your guys' support from the local businesses and, you know, even local residents who want to get rid of this, because it's just not fair to the, you know, to the dispensaries.
Right.
You know, like, you have all of this space, but someone can't use it because they're too close to somebody. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm glad that this is happening, but I'm not going to be able to be there. It's going to be on the 5th of June, which is a Monday. It's going to be at City Hall here in Las Cruces. I'm not too sure of the time. I'm sure it's going to be probably around 2 o'clock. That's usually when they start having these, around 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. If you can be there, please be there. It looks like it's going to be a long session because they have a few things to vote on. So if you're kind of sitting there thinking this is going to be quick, no, this is government. It's not fast. You know, this is something that's probably going to take a couple hours. However, it's very important that we get as many people up there speaking about this as we possibly can, because if not, then they're not going to hear our side and they're going to side with someone else, because it only takes 2 people, and I'm going to keep saying this, to become from constituent to constituents. It only takes 2. And sometimes even one person voicing an opinion against what we believe can do that to us. And
especially if it's backed up with truth or facts, or, you know, like, you have not just, I'm a person that doesn't think this is okay, to be able to back it up with, I'm a dispensary owner and I would be fine with this. Like, I think that would go a long way too. So as dispensary owners, if you guys can get out there, I think that would be super important as well. Yeah.
And I appreciate you, you know, chiming in with that too, because it is very important that, you know, you guys, believe it or not, and then regardless if you like it or not, you guys are community leaders. And being a cannabis business owner, that automatically puts you in as a leader. You know, you're leading a company, you're leading a bunch of employees, you are leading in the industry. So as a cannabis business owner, it's your responsibility to ensure that you have a good industry. And so if you want a good industry, it's up to you to, you know, to go in and do it too. You know, so you also want to, you know, lead by example.
Right.
And, you know, this is a great way to do it, to show people that you actually care. And, you know, you can give people an insight that normally people don't get, even myself, you know, like, you know, I don't know everything that goes on. I know a lot, but I don't know exactly what goes on at your establishment day in, day out, every hour throughout the day. You do. And you can give that to the city council, and you can tell them exactly what's going on and what you deal with. And maybe removing this will help you out. You know, like, people that are afraid of competition, of course, they may go against it for whatever reason. But for the most part, I don't see this being a real issue. I mean, we don't do this with anything else.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point in having it.
I always say, I'm only competing with myself. I have a ton of competitors in the food delivery industry. I'm not competing with them. I'm only competing with myself.
Yeah, no, 100%. So that's all I really want to say on this one, guys. One more thing on that note is we still have a ban on outdoor consumption in the county. That's a county thing, not really a city thing. So when that comes up, I'll let you guys know. I'm not too sure when it's going to happen. I hope it happens soon. So that way we can get more outdoor consumption to our consumption lounges, because it just makes more sense.
Yeah.
You know, like, people love smoking outside. And, you know,
we live in a beautiful place. I don't want to be stuck in my house doing that.
No,
beautiful out here.
I don't want to be stuck in a building doing that either. You know, like, there's places like have really great outdoor seating.
Yeah.
I
mean, this time of year, I would rather be in the AC, but, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, we live in a beautiful area, and again, it goes back to, why do you care where I'm smoking at?
Yeah.
Why is it any of your business?
Yeah, like, why does that matter? But yeah, then again, so anyway, guys, that's all I have for this week. Do you have anything before we get out of here?
No, just thank you so much for having me on. I'm so glad I was able to come out and do this, and
of course,
be a part of all of it and give my little 2 cents on some things.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And, I'm looking forward to having you on again, get to give everybody the update. Maybe we'll do it again in 90 days when you open up.
Yeah, that'd be great. Always
Cool.
lots of fun. Let's do that.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this week in this episode. I'll see y'all next week. All right.